Hi, I'm Coleman from jaxinter.com, and I'm here today with Heinz Kabutz at the W-JAX 2015. Heinz is the renowned author of the Java Specialist newsletter, which is widely popular around the world. And you had a great session earlier today about lambdas, where you spent a significant amount of time quizzing your audience with examples of interfaces, asking them whether they were functional or not. And surprisingly, a lot of the audience didn't seem to know either way most of the time, which goes to show that there must still be a lot of confusion with regard to lambdas.
It is confusing.
How do you see that?
Well, it is confusing when you first look at it. And I think a lot of the confusion comes from the way that it starts by being presented. The state of the lambdas, for example, it starts by saying, well, it's like an action listener. So when I first read it, I thought, okay, cool. So that's what a lambda is, an action listener. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, well, let's do a key listener. That didn't work. And I tried all these different syntax, and when I started looking at this, it was basically in beta. And so a lot of the articles you'd find on the internet were, this is how it's going to look. You can do it like this. But of course, none of it worked because it wasn't how it was actually then eventually done. Mm-hmm. So I got horribly confused with it. And I thought, well, let me confuse my audience a bit with it too. What was really fun was getting a German audience to participate in a quiz was quite interesting. Okay. We got them to really vote, which was fantastic. And if this was a democracy, we'd be in serious trouble now because we'd have the wrong answer for quite a few of the questions.
So what would your advice be to developers that are still confused about it, that didn't make it to your talk then?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's some great books. Maurice Naftalin's got a Mastering Lambdas book. Mm-hmm. He explains it really nicely. He's got some great examples. One example I love the most is about streams. And let's say I've got a friend and he wants to. I asked my friend, can you please post these letters for me? Mm-hmm. So give them a punch of letters and please post these for me. And the friend says, okay, no, I'll pop them in the post on the way home. And you say, but wait. I want you to post them in the same orders I've given them to you, and one at a time. He's going to go like, are you crazy? That's madness. Don't tell me to do stuff like that. So it's how streams are, sort of the way that programs normally are. You write a for loop and you iterating through a collection, trying to do one thing at a time with each element, which is madness. Just tell the stream do something with these elements, doesn't matter what order. So the whole notion of order is something which gets people in trouble when you're looking at anything concurrent, parallel. Order shouldn't be relevant. If it's relevant, you've got a problem. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't do that in the first place. Mm-hmm. Another part of the book which I found very useful is it starts by showing the difference between an anonymous in a class and a lambda, and sort of just how we get rid of all the sort of useless syntax until we eventually have just the pure lambda form in the end. Mm-hmm. And that really sort of clicked with me. But there are other differences as well with lambdas and anonymous inner classes. You can, when you first start with lambdas, I find it very helpful to see them as anonymous inner classes. Mm-hmm. So when I write my code initially, I wrote it initially, I would simply use autocompletion to pop an anonymous inner class into my code, and then I would use IntelliJ's autocorrect feature to convert it to a lambda. Then I get the correct syntax for the lambda, and then maybe convert it to method reference. And of course, that's how you start. And I'm almost embarrassed suggesting this because it sounds like such a dumb thing to do. Just sort of let the IDE do the work for you. But initially, it really helps. It helps to get the syntax right. And once you're used to it, then you don't need to do that anymore. It's like having training wheels on your bicycle when you're first trying to learn how to ride the bike. It helps you don't fall over so often. Mm-hmm. And of course, you can also sometimes still fall off the wheels.
Right. So another interesting thing that came up in your session was you made the claim that method overloading is evil. Could you tell us a little bit about what you meant?
Yeah. Method overloading, just to qualify what I mean with that is it's basically you've got different methods with the same name but different parameters, right? So just so people don't confuse with method overriding, which is where you've got the same name, same signature, different subclass with the same method name. So it's method overloading where you've got some method name like foo, and if it takes an int, it does one thing. If it's got a long, it takes another thing. And so with method overloading, you've got multiple methods which have the same name, and things get really complicated when you're mixing that with generics and lambdas altogether.
Right.
Because the compiler needs to decide based on the left-hand side of the expression what the actual type is going to be that it's going to use. And so because of that, you end up sometimes the compiler gets confused, you get confused as to what the real type is that you're using there. So I've had a few times where I was playing with lambdas and I, especially mixing with generics, and then you get exceptions as well, because exceptions were also not very well thought through when they were doing lambdas. And the guys who wrote lambdas actually admitted to me that they didn't realize it was such a big issue when they're writing, because I said to them, how do you do exceptions? They say, well, and one of the admittance of failures is the unchecked IO exception. You know that one?
No.
It's a new exception they've put into Java 8.
Okay. Unchecked
IO exception, which is a wrapper, a runtime exception wrapper for IO exception.
Okay.
And they had to put this in to cover over their sin of not thinking or not including exception handling properly into lambdas. So, for example, if you want to have a consumer function interface and you want to allow it to throw exceptions, you really can't. You need to convert it to runtime exception in some way. You can't just say, well, let's throw the exception. That's a problem.
Okay. So let's zoom out a bit then on the whole Java ecosystem.
Let's do what, sorry?
Zoom out a bit.
Zoom out, okay. Yeah. Zoom out, okay.
And
I see the camera zooming all the time.
I wouldn't mind asking your opinion on the general mood in the Java community at the moment. It's typical, I suppose, all the time to have some kind of a grumbling about the end of Java and the negative future of Java. But there seems to be a couple of negative developments in the past couple of months, starting with the sacking of several Java evangelists, followed by rumors of Oracle neglecting Java, and then also just a generally subdued atmosphere at the Java 1 conference. How do you see all of this? Does any of this worry you?
I've just had so much demand for Java 8 concurrency courses. It's going crazy. So I'm not seeing any downturn. I'm getting requests for consulting, performance consulting. I'm basically until January. Until October till January, I'm home for 1 week, traveling all over the world. Teaching courses, doing consulting online, and I don't see a downturn at all. In fact, quite the opposite. I think that companies are really excited to start using Java 8 now. Because, of course, with a company, it takes a while before you can go from Java 4 to Java 5 to Java 6 to Java 7 to 8. A lot of companies are on Java 6 at the moment. They sort of skipped Java 7 because it wasn't that interesting. Okay, you had fork join, but if you've ever tried using fork join without parallel streams, you know it's quite a pain. So to go into Java 8 is quite exciting for them now. They want to know what are the pitfalls, what can go wrong, how do we use lambdas, and it's exciting to see the big companies go over to Java 8 now. A lot of them are leapfrogging over Java 7, going to Java 8. Now, in contrast to that, I didn't go to Java 1. I've only been twice, and I prefer the European conferences because it's closer to home and don't get jet lag and stuff. But it is a real pity that Simon Ritter was let go. Simon Ritter and Angela Caicedo, she was a bit before Simon. I don't know if she left by herself, but that whole evangelism program was shut down, and it's a real pity because I was thinking about this yesterday. If I want good speakers at a conference, I'm going to invite Simon Ritter. He was just brilliant. I'd always go to his sessions because it was always interesting, and he'd do crazy things. Like he'd, for example, built a carputer. I don't know if you saw that talk.
Yeah.
He got a little Raspberry Pi and he programmed Java onto it and he stuck it into his car and used it to fine-tune his car and get like just the right mix of oxygen into his petrol mix. And, like, and he built this whole thing, interface for it and a GUI, and he'd always have these crazy, like, he was like Q in James Bond, you know. Mm-hmm. Always have these crazy little gadgets and always running Java, and just he was so inspiring. Great guy, absolutely great guy. He now, I believe, is CTO of Azul, isn't he?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So when they let him go, it was like, what are you doing, man? Honestly, he's somebody that is just so valuable to any company who gets him. Well, I mean, he's not unhappy. I'm sure he's like, okay, well, you know. He's gone from being just another evangelist to being like the CTO of a fantastic company, Azul. So why not?
That's right.
Yeah, it's so I didn't pick up the subdued atmosphere, but we complained a lot on the Java Champion mailing list about this. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, the Java Champion is a program where they look for people who are championing Java, and of course we were very unhappy with letting go these really key people who've done so much for promoting Java. Mm-hmm. And I just hope that, I don't know, that Oracle doesn't lose the focus on that.
Couldn't agree more. Heinz, thank you very much for the lovely chat.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you all for watching.
Thank you very much. And subscribe.
JavaSpecialists.eu.
Are you subscribed?
We are, of course, yeah. JavaSpecialists.eu.
So Java Specialists with an S at the back, .eu.